Have you ever been to a place famous for its church, its museum, and its heroes? Welcome to Saint Mere Eglise. Hello, good morning from Saint Mere Eglise. Behind me you can see the church where a parachute is hanging, because actually we are going to see a lot of things about D-Day, the landing here in Normandy, and the Operation Overlord. And we're going to start today with a visit to the Airborne Museum. So the Airborne Museum is actually situated in 3 different buildings and tells the story of the American Paratroopers of the 82nd and the 101st Divisions. We also received a tablet with additional information. This is the story of Saint Mere Eglise. D-Day was on the 6th of June 1944, and the Allied troops wanted to liberate Europe from German Nazi occupation. The day started shortly after midnight, with droppings of paratroopers to the east and the west of the landing zones. So D-Day started actually with the planes, and here you can see takeoff and landing. So the rest of the landing started at 6:30 in the morning, but the planes were earlier. In the west, where we are now, the US Airborne divisions would land. Shortly after midnight, the pathfinders would jump to mark the drop zones for the paratroopers. So in order for the planes to land, there were pathfinders that need to install lights. And the first light, as you can see, has Morse code on it. Then after that, the plane arrives and gets the signal, so they know where they need to land and where they need to drop the forces. There you go. Really interesting. And 30 minutes later, some C-47s carrying the divisions were supposed to arrive. In this new museum, you can still find a C-47, as well as a Waco glider. A Waco glider is a plane without a motor, and it's actually essential to carry on man and material. There were more than 500 gliders that were deployed on Norman soil. There were about 13,000 US paratroopers, but the units were scattered. Men were drowning in the flooded areas, and 70% of the heavy equipment was lost. So here they explain that there are in total 29,678 Americans that have been killed during the first month after the landing, and a total of 54,437 Germans also. And they think approximately 4,377 civilians. Actually, D-Day was supposed to happen on the 5th of June, but the weather conditions were that bad that they postponed it for 24 hours, and so it was the 6th of June, and the person in command of all of this was Eisenhower. Saint Mere Eglise was the first town that was liberated by American troopers, but it was not easy. 30 paratroopers landed in the town itself, including 20 on the church square. Unfortunately, there was a fire in one of the houses in the town at the time, so many people, including Germans, were in the streets. The fire illuminated the sky, which made the paratroopers visible and also an easy target. Some men were sucked into the fire and others hang on the trees. There's also the story of Private John Steele of the 82nd Division. John Steele was injured shortly after he began his descent. He could not use his leg and landed on the church tower. He witnessed the battle from above. He spent more than 2 hours hanging there. After trying to cut himself free with a knife, he dropped his gun and decided to play dead to avoid becoming a target. In the end, he was taken prisoner by the Germans, but he managed to escape after 3 days. We ended our visit here of the Airborne Museum in Saint Mere Eglise. I was really interested. We received also an iPad where you can have interactive videos and have a lot of more information about everything you see. So yeah, definitely worth a visit. And yeah, that was it for the visit here. Now we go to Utah Beach.